Welcome to Journey to True Self. Today's question is: am I really inside of a dream? Are we really inside of a dream? All right. So, again, I'm taking all the topic and the lessons from the book Soul Seed. This is my book, Soul Seed. 5 steps for your liberation. 5 steps to creating the non-dual being. Yes, the world is illusionary by nature, and things are not as they appear. This is all because the world is being created in a dream using imagination. Human beings search within the dream for the truth, but the truth is only within the dreamer. For that which you seek, you already are. You are self luminous, self governing, self reliant, self contained. All that you need to do now is to just come to the realization of who you are. The self is a character in the dream and must come awake. Yes, yes. The self is a character in the dream and must come awake. That's right. But how does one awake the sleeping self? You awake the sleeping self by interrogating. You're interrogating the self because you want to get the mind engaged to go looking for the self. Because remember, the mind and the self exist together on one sheet. A paper, and here you have the mind, which you can see things clear, and here you have the self. Sleeping cannot be seen. This is like there's no space between the mind and the self. No space whatsoever. So the self is not even aware of itself. It's not aware of the mind. The mind is not aware of it. The mind thinks that it's the boss of the body, because the mind is in ignorance, and the world is being created inside a dream. So everything is illusionary, and the mind is seeing through the eyes, a false perception. So just like this baby inside of the womb, you see that? Just like the baby inside of the womb, so are we. All of humanity, all human beings, all the beings in the world. So are we inside of the world. When a baby is inside the womb, it's not aware. It's not aware of that it's inside of a womb. It's not aware of the body. It's not aware that there's a head, there's a foot. It's just inside of the belly. And this is all its existence. And this is the same unaware and sleeping. This is the same thing with that's happening for us in humanity in the world. We are unaware and we are sleeping. We're inside the earth. The earth is also a being. The earth is a being. All the planets are beings, are consciousness beings. So everything is a living consciousness. It's a living intelligence. You must know and understand that. Everything in the world is a living intelligence. It's the self as taken form in everything. So the earth is also a being like us, except it's a supreme being, and the earth is a sun, but it's a sun with its light obscure. So because the light of the sun is obscure, it does not shine. So the light have to be obscure for things to be created on it. So otherwise we wouldn't be able to create on the sun like this if the light was not obscure. Anum Ra is the world. Anum Ra, and his light is obscure. Anum means hidden, because Anum Ra is a self replica of the Supreme Self. So the Supreme Self she created a replica of herself that becomes the world, Anum Ra, but she obscured the light so that his light doesn't shine, just her light shine. And so she can build the world in a dream. The dreaming self is called Brahma, which is the mind of the Supreme Self. So the Supreme have a body just like how this is said, this is my body and my mind is in here. The same thing with the Supreme Self. The same thing. The Supreme Ra has a body and a mind. The mind has a different name from the body. The body is called Anam Ra, the sleeping self. The mind is called Brahma, because the mind is dreaming. The mind is dreaming of the world, and the world is within the sleeping self, Anam Ra. This is why Anam Ra creates the illusion effect, because he's sleeping and the whole body is creating an illusion, because we're inside the sleeping self, sleeping, dreaming self. And so this is the reason why it's very important for the self to wake up out of the dream, so that the mind, there's some this distance can be presented, so the self can see itself and it can see the mind and it can wake up and merge back with the real self, the soul. All right? Doesn't know that the self is allowing it to shine. This is the reason why the mind does not know the importance of the soul, does not know that the soul is the real self. So this is what we have to do now. So this is called self-inquiry, and we have to inquire within the self, inquire within the mind, because all this time the mind think that it is the real self, and the mind is actually the false I, because it's responding as I, but there's a I am in the body, the real I, which is the self. And so we have to inquire within the mind and inquire within the self until the self rise up to speak to the mind, and it does. So know that the moon and the earth are suns with their light obscure, and all the planets are consciousness beings, and they are suns with their light obscure. They do not know the self. When your light is obscure, you're sleeping and dreaming, and you do not know the self, and you're in a whole lot of ignorance. And this is the reason why the world is so imbalanced, because of all of this ignorance, this sleeping and dreaming, and nobody is aware of the truth.